It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey guys, what's up? You're watching Up and Adam. My name's Adam Newell, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm the guy bringing you guys all the weekly recaps and celebrity interviews from your favorite celebrities and pop culture influencers. But for those of you who do know me, you know that that's not why we're always here, right? Guys, tonight's one of those nights. Tonight we're here to kind of recap the Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 15, Episode 3, because stuff went down. I really wasn't getting into the Real Housewives of Orange County yet, to be honest with you. And guys, if you missed it, I started off with the first episode with DJ Richie Sky. I thought it was a great recap, but it was just like nobody was feeling this. But now I'm starting to. But before we get into it, you know how this works. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because you don't want to miss anything that we have coming up. We have a lot of great shows, recaps, lives, and collaborations, so stick with us. Okay guys, so let's get started. So we start off this episode with Shannon and John, who I actually think were pretty cute together. Shannon starts complaining about the Peloton, which Shannon is kind of like the only person in the world who can get away with complaining about like a $10,000 piece of equipment. I don't know what it is exactly. I just know Pelotons are like for wealthy people, you know, they're a lot of money. So that's what I'm saying. I'm making the joke that of course only Shannon would complain about it. And also only Shannon would say, I need to come up with a special lemon vodka shot, like something of my own, just something lemon and vodka. Yeah, it's called a lemon drop. And since you're not a big fan of sugar, you can just do it as a sugarless lemon drop, right? Moving on, Shannon is talking to John about her relationship with Emily. So I think we're making new strides here. Shannon extends the invitation to Emily to come to her new housewarming or her new house for her housewarming party, and Emily's gonna show. I feel good about this. But John makes a good point. You know, even if you guys aren't going to be friends, it doesn't mean that you guys can't be cordial and be there for each other. At least like in a friendly way, like you guys can be in a group setting around each other. I agree with that. As we keep it moving, we get to see a little bit more about our new housewife, Elizabeth Lynn Vargas, and I'm a fan. So Elizabeth Lynn Vargas, I don't necessarily understand how she landed this role as a housewife, considering we learned this episode that she's on a full-on gag order from her husband, I guess we want to call him. She's pushing for him to be an ex-husband, but the divorce is not final. There's a lot that you go through, I guess, when you divorce a billionaire. So she's on a strict gag order and she can't talk about much. That's what I'm talking about. How can you be on a reality show when you can't talk about much? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So when Gina and Kelly, and they're sitting there kind of talking about her life, her relationship, and asking her questions, one after another, she just can't answer. Even about her not being able to get fully intimate with her boyfriend, Jimmy. So she says that she loves her boyfriend, but she can't confirm or deny how long they've been together because, again, she's on a full-on gag order. So, Elizabeth, I love you, girl, but why are you here holding an orange? But unless you guys think that Elizabeth is actually covering up the fact that maybe she does hook up with her boyfriend, but she can't really say that on national television because she's on a gag order and she doesn't want to ruin whatever funds are coming her way. That could totally be the case, but I'm just speculating. It's all alleged. I don't know anything. Moving on, Gina goes on to tell the women that she's so sick of hearing the rumors about Braunwyn and Shannon talking about her condo, her 1,700 square foot condo in Orange County, which, mind you, is a lot of money still, that she owns, calling it sad and depressing. Gina's like, are you kidding me? Don't walk into my house and bring me a bowl full of 9 lemons and then drop that SHIT. And I feel what Gina's saying. Kelly calls Shannon an elitist, and Elizabeth says, here's to 2020. Well, actually, Gina did, but Elizabeth says, I'm pretty sure this one's going to be better than 2019. How do you feel about that now, Elizabeth? Going back over to Braunwyn, Braunwyn is still kind of a basket case, but I mean that in the most polite way possible. She's just an emotional, she's just emotional. She's all over the place right now because she's 28 days sober in this scene and she's feeling it. She's having her highs, her lows, and everything in between. What I do want to say is I love the fact that Sean calls all of the kids Littles. Littles, where are you? When he goes out to the pirate ship to find his kids, one of however many of that Brady bunch. And, you know, Braunwyn had this self-revelation. I'm buying into it right now, I believe, but she was like, I feel sad because I'm sitting here running around with my kids and I feel more present than ever, and now I realize that you, Sean, have been picking up the flack for me because I've been absent. I've been drinking. I haven't been here. And it was kind of also sad when she's explaining the fact that her kids are more attached to the nanny at one point because she wasn't around. Mentally, emotionally. I'm sure she was there physically, but she just was drinking. Braunwyn says that the only thing that she loves more than alcohol is her love for her kids. I think that's beautiful. So for that, Braunwyn, I love you for that. But it was really heartbreaking when Braunwyn says that she feels like she kind of gave her kids a front row seat to her demise. Like she wasn't being a good mom. Almost as if she wasn't strong enough for her kids. Hang in there, Braunwyn. Moving back over to Kelly, we get to see her new house. Her new rented house, unlike Gina's owned bought 1,700 square foot condo. Kelly's rented 4,500 square foot 5-bedroom home in suburbia, or the Beaver Cleaver neighborhood, as Kelly likes to call it, looked amazing. The only problem is she's afraid of becoming a Stepford wife kind of woman like Shannon. She doesn't want to be anything like Shannon, and she feels like suburbia and leaving the beach could easily do that. But it does make sense that Kelly doesn't want to buy a house just yet. When she's explaining it to her friend, it makes sense. Why would she buy a house when she has her fiance at the time, who's her now husband, Rick Leventhal, moving all the way from New York City? Why not let him get here, get situated, and kind of go house shopping together? That way Kelly's not just sticking him in a house that she feels like is hers. Makes sense to me. Now let's take it back over to Braunwyn, because Braunwyn reveals to Shannon that she threw her under the bus. Ouch. She sure did. She threw Shannon under the bus with the sad and small comment about Gina's house, but Shannon's denying it. When Shannon starts profusely denying it and saying, I never said that. I said it was small, but I would never say sad and depressing. That's not in my vocabulary. Braunwyn's like, okay, well, I'll tell her I misunderstood. And then they end up going to see Dr. Moon, which kind of lightened up the mood because he was helping them by pricking them with these little acupuncture things. For Braunwyn, apparently you get stuck in the middle of the ear for addiction, which Shannon was like, why didn't I get stuck in the middle of the ear? And Dr. Moon, with a low-key shade, was like, that's because you're not dealing with addiction, Shannon. You just are emotional. And Shannon's like, okay, Jesus. Dr. Moon's like, I'm not Jesus. But speaking of Shannon, where's fun Emily? She's on her way to Shannon's housewarming, which that is the highlight of this episode. One, because we meet Shannon's dad, which kind of explains a lot. We meet Gene and his wife, Diane. So Diane is almost Shannon's age. They're off by one digit of a number, is what Shannon is saying. So, like Shannon said, Gene's a very lucky man. But Gene also did pull up in a Rolls Royce, so it seems like Shannon came from money. She's no stranger to the dollar, and it kind of explains a lot. In true housewife fashion with the sneaky producers, Gina is technically the first housewife to arrive at the party, the housewarming party, and this could have been so bad. The producers know what they're doing. They know how they do the time placement. There's call times for all these women, and this was shady. But it didn't work out for the producers, only because Shannon and Gina, they had resolution, which I actually enjoyed the conversation. When Gina sat down with Shannon and talked to her about the comments, Shannon was like, I would never say that. Yes, I called your house small, but I'm not going to call it sad and depressing. Gina, you're actually the only person who owns their home. Me, Kelly, Braunwyn, none of us own our homes. So I'm not going to sit back and make fun of you. I'm so proud of you. Now, what I'm wondering, and guys, please comment below because I'm so curious, is Shannon deflecting and she actually did say this, but she doesn't want to look bad? Or is she being honest? Because this could make her look bad. Because, I mean, shaming someone who just doesn't have the same means as everybody else, it just doesn't make you look like a great person. Because, honestly, most of us can't afford a 1,700 square foot condo to purchase in Orange County, California. So Shannon, if you did say it, I understand why you're denying it. But you should come clean if you did say it. So obviously now at this point, Shannon's a little peeved with Braunwyn, and here they come. Elizabeth, Braunwyn, Kelly, the whole gang, everybody, Emily, they all start walking in. But when Elizabeth walks up to Shannon and Braunwyn's kind of standing there with Sean, Shannon immediately is like, tequila, let's have tequila. And now for me, again, I thought this was another low-key shade moment because Shannon the other night didn't want to drink in front of Braunwyn out of respect. But now that Shannon's upset with Braunwyn, is she taking the one thing that would hurt Braunwyn and using it against her, but not doing it directly, but low-key enough by using Elizabeth as a pawn to get at Braunwyn? Because this could very easily be the situation. I think I'm onto something. But not onto something like Megan King Edmonds from season, 10 or 11? But kind of onto something, you know? By the way, guys, did you see when Kelly walks up to Shannon's dad and says, "Hey, you're daddy. Oh, Big D daddy from Cincinnati?" Oh my gosh, I almost died. Like Shannon said, who walks up to somebody's parent and says that? Only Kelly Dodd. That is the reason we keep her around. Even though she's so ridiculous sometimes with her words and her comments, it's just one of those... I can't justify it or say that I love it all the time. I'm just saying this is why they keep her. It's like a... reckless, but she hasn't... I don't know. They keep her. Shannon ends up calling out Braunwyn about the Gina thing, and Braunwyn this time is not standing down. She's not backing down, and she thinks, you know what, Shannon? She's like, this did happen, and maybe you don't remember it because you were a few drinks in, but I wasn't. I'm actually sober, and for the first time ever. And Shannon's like, oh, don't for the first time ever me. Don't do that, Braunwyn. And Braunwyn's like, no, I was sober. You weren't sober, so go ask Sean. And then to that, Shannon got even more mad because Shannon's like, don't bring Sean in this and do like gang up on me. Are you kidding me? This is my party. And then we get some B-roll over to the side where Emily's nastily popping Gina's whiteheads at a party, and also Kelly's throwing away Shannon's food because she doesn't like it. To be honest with you, Emily feels like Braunwyn is weaponizing her sobriety because Emily feels responsible for even telling her in the first place that she had a problem and she needed to fix it. So now that that was on camera, Emily feels like she is turning this whole thing around against the group and using it against everybody, I guess. Kind of saying like, you guys don't understand, you're not here for me, I have a problem, and using it as a storyline. Emily's calling it what she thinks it is, but I'm curious what you guys think. Is Braunwyn true to her storyline, or is she weaponizing this, using it only to get her further in the Housewives franchise? You can't say it's not been done before. Moving on, the text comes up about Sean and... Well, Sean texted Gina about whatever, the condo, the love shack, and Braunwyn falling asleep, and it was nice talking to you and getting to know you, whatever. But Emily does have a point. You know, if he wanted to check on you and make sure you got home, how about, hey, did you make it home safe, ? It is kind of strange, and they have been super open about the fact that they have a love shack where they invite other people back, almost like swingers. So if that's the case, of course Gina's going to take it that way. It's not something that's like far-fetched up in the air. Now, before Braunwyn leaves this party, because she's had multiple breakdowns at this point, she wants to call out Gina. She wants to have a conversation. Sean's the one who pushes her to have the conversation, but have the conversation nonetheless. When she walks over to ask Gina, hey, can I talk to you? Kelly asks her, why are you crying? And she starts to explain herself, and she's like, really? Why am I crying? And Shannon's like, you know what? We've only tried to be a friend for you. And then Sean butts in and says, Shannon, you did say it. And Shannon snaps again and says, how dare you? So now that Shannon and Sean are off to the side having a feud, Braunwyn and Gina are going back and forth, and it just gets even uglier. So Braunwyn does admit that she's been going after Gina over and over and over, time and time again, in her house and all these low blows. But to Gina's defense, why? And just because you're admitting it doesn't make it better. You know what I mean? So I agree with Gina in this, or this, up to this point, before she starts freaking out and calling Braunwyn a sloppy chihuahua. But I guess Braunwyn crossed a line and Gina had enough. I mean, at the point that Braunwyn said, I didn't have time to pick up a phone and call you. And Emily said, you don't have a job and you have 2 nannies. And Braunwyn was like, sorry, I had to get a facial and I had this. It's like, it was a big slap in the face to Gina. So she snapped and she said, you know what, about your drinking problem and you're a sloppy chihuahua and blah, blah, blah. And Braunwyn actually snapped. She's like, I'm 30 days sober, added the B word at the end, throws her glass and walks out screaming, F you, Gina, F you. Guys, this might actually get good. But with that being said, if you haven't already, make sure you like this video, comment on this video to everything that I was asking you guys, because I go back, read them, and I reply. Subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell, because we're going to go live tomorrow and it's going to be fantastic. Except for you, Jolene. Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching Up and Adam.